There's a moment in every journey when the road splits so cleanly that you can almost hear the earth crack beneath your feet. One path curves back toward the familiar, the safe, the slumbering comfort of what you've always known. The other rises steep and unknown, shrouded in mist, whispering promises that your rational mind can't yet decode, but your soul already recognizes. If you're here right now, reading these words, feeling the strange electricity in your chest, you're standing at that crossroads, and the truth you're about to discover won't just explain the restlessness that's been haunting your nights. It will shatter every excuse you've ever used to play small. Let's start with what's been happening to you lately, the patterns you might have dismissed as coincidence or stress. Those nights when sleep abandons you at exactly 3 in the morning, when the house falls silent and the world outside holds its breath. You've probably blamed it on anxiety, on too much caffeine, on the weight of responsibilities pressing down on your mind. But here's what you haven't considered. What if those wakeful hours aren't a curse but a calling? What if in those sacred stretches of darkness, when distraction sleeps and noise retreats, something far greater than your conscious mind is being downloaded directly into your spirit? Ancient wisdom tells us that the hours before dawn are when the veil between the visible and invisible worlds grows thinnest. It's when prophets received their most profound revelations, when mystics encountered the divine, when ordinary people were transformed into vessels of extraordinary purpose. Your body isn't malfunctioning, it's being recalibrated. Your spirit is stretching, expanding, making room for insights too vast to fit into the crowded hours of daylight.
Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life, a guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming, with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10,000 readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you, who were tired of living in the fog, ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.
Those thoughts racing through your mind aren't random anxieties. They're blueprints, strategies, visions of a future you're being prepared to build. And it doesn't stop there. You've noticed how conversations land differently now. A friend makes an offhand comment, something they'll forget before sunset, but it lodges in your chest like an arrow finding its mark. Words that would have bounced off you months ago now penetrate deep, stirring something ancient and knowing within you. You hear meanings beneath meanings, catch subtexts that others miss entirely. Your discernment is sharpening, your spiritual ears tuning to frequencies that most people never access in an entire lifetime. If you're feeling this shift, if these words are resonating in that deep place beyond logic, take a moment right now and subscribe to this channel. It's not just a gesture, it's an energetic agreement, a signal to the universe that you're ready to receive more. Your engagement here amplifies the flow of truth into your life. But let's address the discomfort, because transformation is rarely gentle. Those activities that used to soothe you, mindless scrolling through social media, binge-watching shows that demand nothing of you, comfortable routines that kept you numb, they're starting to feel hollow, aren't they? Like eating cardboard when your soul is starving for substance. This isn't depression. This is your spirit outgrowing its cage. You're not losing interest in life. You're losing tolerance for anything that doesn't align with your emerging purpose. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus said that no one steps into the same river twice, for it's not the same river and they're not the same person. You're in that current now, being shaped by waters you can't control, and the shore you left behind is already vanishing from view. The dissatisfaction you feel isn't failure, it's momentum. It's your soul refusing to settle for the shallow end when it was built for ocean depths. This is where many people stumble. They feel the call, but immediately catalogue their inadequacies. They think of their past mistakes, their current limitations, their resume of failures and flaws. They ask, how could someone like me be chosen for anything significant? And in that question they miss the entire point of how the divine operates. Go back through history, through scripture, through the stories that have survived millennia precisely because they reveal eternal patterns. The shepherd boy who became king wasn't plucked from a line of warriors. He was watching sheep while his brothers marched to battle. The woman who saved her nation wasn't born in a palace. She was an orphan, a refugee, hidden in plain sight until her moment arrived. The fishermen who changed the world weren't scholars. They smelled of the sea, spoke with rough accents, stumbled over their own doubts. The greatest missionary in early Christianity had spent years hunting and persecuting the very people he would later die to protect. Hit the like button if you're starting to see the pattern here, if you're recognizing that your disqualifications might actually be your divine credentials. The architecture of transformation always includes the element of unlikelihood, because when someone obviously qualified succeeds, people credit their talent, their privilege, their circumstances. But when someone broken, flawed, and utterly ordinary rises into impossible purpose, there's only one explanation that makes sense. They're being carried by a power infinitely greater than themselves. Your struggles haven't disqualified you, they've been equipping you. Every failure taught you humility. Every betrayal trained your discernment. Every dark night refined your faith. You've been in a wilderness, yes, but not by accident. Wildernesses are where chosen ones are forged, where the superficial burns away and what remains is unshakable. And now, as you emerge from that preparation, the world around you is shifting in ways that both terrify and exhilarate. You can feel it, can't you? The old systems creaking, the facades cracking, structures that seemed permanent revealing themselves as temporary scaffolding. What's been built on deception, pride, and illusion can't withstand what's coming. The shaking has already begun. But here's what separates you from those who will panic when foundations crumble. You've been trained in instability. You've learned to stand when the ground beneath you gives way. While others scramble to preserve what's dying, you're being positioned to build what's emerging. The chaos that spells disaster for some is creating space for your elevation. Think about it. How many times have you prayed for a breakthrough, for doors to open, for obstacles to move? And how often did it seem like those prayers hit a ceiling and fell back unanswered? You didn't know it then, but timing is everything. A seed planted in winter doesn't sprout until spring. Not because the seed is flawed, but because the season wasn't ready. Your season is arriving now. The barriers that held you back are about to shatter, not through your striving, but through divine orchestration. Turn on your notifications so you don't miss what's coming next, because the insights in our upcoming videos will give you the exact tools you need to navigate this transition with wisdom and power. There's a prophecy woven through ancient texts that speaks directly to this moment. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. That's not poetry for poetry's sake. It's a promise being activated in real time for those who have eyes to see it. Where you saw barrenness, streams are about to break through. Where you felt stranded in wasteland, paths are being carved that didn't exist yesterday. But, and this is crucial, this isn't a passive process. You're not a spectator waiting for miracles to rain down while you recline in comfort. You're a co-creator, and your faith is the activating ingredient. Not perfect faith, not unshakable, never doubting, mountain-moving faith, just mustard seed faith. Enough to take the next step even when you can't see the entire staircase. enough to whisper yes when every logical voice screams no. Because here's what happens when you say yes to your calling despite your fear. The universe conspires. Doors that were locked swing open. Resources appear from impossible sources. People you need show up at exactly the right moment. Coincidences stack so high they stop looking like coincidences and start revealing themselves as divine appointments. And while you're stepping forward, others will step back. You need to prepare yourself for this reality. As the divide between light and shadow deepens, as truth and illusion separate like oil and water, some people in your life will make choices you don't understand. They'll cling to comfort over conviction. They'll choose the approval of crowds over the whisper of conscience. They'll see what's happening and deliberately look away because awakening demands too much. This will hurt. You'll be tempted to dim your light so they're not uncomfortable, to shrink back into old dynamics so relationships don't fracture. But remember, you can't drag anyone into their own awakening. Everyone has free will. Everyone chooses their path. Your job isn't to convince them. Your job is to keep walking yours, to be so anchored in truth that you become a lighthouse, not chasing after ships in the storm, but standing steady so those who are ready can find their way home. Drop a comment below sharing one sign you've been experiencing. It could be the confirmation someone else desperately needs to see today. Your testimony might be the catalyst that shifts their entire trajectory. As you move forward, you're going to encounter resistance, not just from people, but from systems, from your own internal programming, from the momentum of old patterns that don't want to release their grip. There will be moments when you question everything, when the cost seems too high, when retreat looks more appealing than advance. In those moments, remember why you started this journey. Remember the restlessness that wouldn't let you sleep, the hunger that food couldn't satisfy, the knowing that whispered your name in the darkness. That wasn't random. That was recognition. Your soul remembering what it came here to do. There's a concept in physics called quantum entanglement, the idea that two particles, once connected, remain linked regardless of the distance between them. When one shifts, the other responds instantaneously, even across galaxies. You're entangled with your purpose in the same way. Every time you align with it, even in the smallest action, the entire field responds. Synchronicities multiply, opportunities accelerate, obstacles that seemed immovable suddenly dissolve. But you have to keep choosing it. Every day, every hour sometimes. When the alarm rings and your body begs for more sleep, you choose it. When fear whispers all the reasons you'll fail, you choose it. When old friends mock your new path, you choose it. Not because it's easy, not because it makes sense, but because betraying your calling would be a death worse than any physical ending. And here's the magnificent truth they don't tell you in self-help books or motivational speeches. The moment you commit fully and irrevocably to your purpose, you stop walking alone. Forces beyond your comprehension align to support you. Angels, if you want to call them that. Universal intelligence, the quantum field, divine assistance. Whatever language fits your understanding, the principle remains. Surrendered vessels are divinely protected and supernaturally equipped. This doesn't mean you'll avoid all hardship. Jesus walked on water but also wept in gardens. Moses parted seas but died before entering the promised land. Challenges aren't signs you're off path. They're often proof you're exactly where you're meant to be, because nothing worth doing unfolds without resistance. But the difference now is you won't face those challenges alone, and you won't face them unprepared. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes the exact message we need comes through the generosity of others who recognized its value and passed it forward. There's something else happening that you might not have noticed yet. Your discernment for deception is becoming razor sharp. You can smell manipulation before it opens its mouth. You can feel agendas beneath smooth words. You're no longer easily fooled, easily swayed, easily seduced by glittering promises and empty flattery. This is one of the most valuable gifts of your preparation period, the development of wisdom that can't be taught, only earned through experience. Where does this lead? To a version of yourself you've glimpsed in dreams but doubted in daylight. To a life where your work feels like worship, where your relationships reflect mutual growth instead of codependent survival, where your daily choices align with your deepest values instead of contradicting them. To a place where you stop asking permission and start walking in authority, not over others, but over the chaos within yourself, the doubts, the fears, the old stories that kept you small. You'll look back one day, maybe a year from now, maybe 5, and marvel at this moment. You'll see it as the turning point, the instant when everything shifted, even though the external circumstances barely changed. Because the most important transformations always happen inside first. The outer world eventually catches up, rearranges itself to match your inner alignment. But it starts here, with a choice to believe that your restlessness meant something, that your discomfort was direction, that your calling was real. The test you're facing now isn't about perfection. It's about participation. It's not asking if you're worthy. That was decided before you took your first breath. It's asking if you're willing to release what's dying, willing to embrace what's emerging, willing to trust that the force that sets stars in motion and teaches birds to navigate by constellations can certainly guide you through your next chapter. And when doubt creeps back in, when the voice of reason starts cataloguing all the ways this could fail, remember that every great story requires a protagonist willing to step into the unknown. Every transformation demands a death of the old self. Every rebirth involves labor pains. You're not broken for struggling through this process. You're precisely on track. The final test isn't a destination you reach. It's a threshold you cross, again and again, choosing courage over comfort, truth over convenience, purpose over ease. And every time you cross it, you become more of who you were always meant to be. Less of the mask, more of the essence, less of the performance, more of the presence. The heavens haven't just aligned by accident. Your sleepless nights weren't meaningless. Your growing intolerance for superficiality isn't cynicism, it's clarity. Your sense that everything is about to change isn't anxiety, it's anticipation. You're not losing your mind, you're finding your mission. And the world, whether it knows it yet or not, desperately needs you to complete this journey. So breathe deeply.